Coming to you from the Trumbull Insurance Agency virtual studio. Turn your stress and anxiety into peace and security with Trumbull Insurance. Contact Patrick Van Kemper today at 540-532-0622 for all your insurance needs. For the rest of our sponsors, Regroup Building Services, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. This is another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. As always, joined by the three-man booth and cameraless Dan Dembski, and he's back, the weapon Dan Dembski, lead contributor and co-host, and the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. Obviously, I am a coward. I was not on the show last week, and there's the wrestling belt. And
No. The NFC East Champions belt. You shut the hell up, Kirby. That's what this is.
No, that it says WWE, bud.
No,
I don't
I'm sorry.
think they make belts
no,
for the NFC East Championship.
Shut your mouth.
You did.
Hey. The champ is speaking. Okay, the champ is speaking. When my hand goes up,
here we go.
Your mouth goes shut, Kirby. My hand is up. Your mouth goes shut. Okay?
You don't get a wrestling belt for winning.
No. This belt goes to the NFC East Champions, baby.
If you don't make it all the way to the
champions. That's all I have to say to you, Kirby. Champions.
And you have the fly eagle fly in the playoffs.
Champions.
Man, nice work.
Yeah, you don't get a belt though. That's WWE.
We get a belt. We get a belt.
It's here. Last I checked, they just had a hat and a shirt.
Kirby, I understand you're jealous. You're upset that last year you guys didn't get one. I know you want one, but I'm sorry. Okay, this only goes to people who win the division with a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, all teams just get a hat and a shirt, Carlos. Just so you know. So.
Oh well, I don't know. This is here, so I mean, look, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Don't you just wish you had one? Oh, it's tragic that it only goes to teams that win the division with a winning record.
Hey, at least.
It's so pretty. Hey, guess what, Kirby, guess what? Champions, baby, 2021.
All right.
Champions.
All right, it's out of your system now. Let's
there we go. Dan, I appreciate you filling in for me last week. You all did a phenomenal job.
I was a bad.
It was a great time. I enjoyed listening and editing that podcast.
Did you? Because
editing
Carlos
the video clip at the very beginning with the lights coming on, and he's just it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I sort of cracked up laughing. Dan was like, "Oh!" when he got the belt out. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, listen, this prop wasn't expected. Nobody expected me to pull this out.
Well, it's wrestling, not football.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kirby just ruins the fun of the prop.
Of the bit.
I don't know.
Yeah, you ruined the fun of the bit. You know what?
The bit's
just move on. You're no fun. You've ruined it for me.
Well, Carlos, congratulations.
You ruined it for me. Move on. You've ruined it for me. No, you've ruined it for me. You've ruined it for me. Move on.
All right. So, we're back. I am back. It is episode 145 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Happy New Year, first and foremost. We will be implementing new changes rolling out with this podcast that will be announced in the time being in terms of the format of our shows. You will still be getting our podcast on all streaming platforms as well. So that's nothing that you have to worry about. Yes, sort of a major announcement there. Yes, Carlos. But anyways, you still get our podcast on all streaming platforms, so that's not an issue. But in terms of YouTube and live podcasts, we'll be doing more of those. So check out everything at KirbyOnSports.com.
I mean, just say it, Kirby. Jeez, yeah. I mean, you're beating around the bush here, okay? for the
That's
playoffs
what I said.
through the Super. No. You're beating around the bush here. For the playoffs through the Super Bowl, we will be coming to you live from the Trumbull Insurance Virtual Studio, baby. God, that's all you had to say.
Well, we're
and of
going
course
live
the audio of such podcast that we record live. Of course, you guys can watch us live while we do the podcast for the playoffs. Will be posted onto all streaming platforms.
Big truck.
There we go. Gotcha.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into business. It was a crazy week 17 in the National Football League with one more week left to go. And boy, might I say, we're talking about a very, very exciting first game. And it's not the home of the Chiefs, it's the home of the Cincinnati Bengals, Carlos. Unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs fell to the Cincinnati Bengals 34-31, in which was a very back and forth shootout all the way to the end. And Carlos told me this off the air. Jamar Chase is a problem, and I 100% agree with him. You look at this game, and Joe Burrow with 4 touchdowns in this game. Jamar Chase is an animal, catching 3 of those touchdown passes. That he was connecting to Jamar Chase all day long. It was a hot connection. But, both teams, I feel, played very good football. And it was a shootout all the way to the game winner, where Cincinnati defeated Kansas City 34-31.
Yeah, that game was absolutely insane, and I think that at some point Cincinnati was down 14 points. They just completely, made a incredible comeback. Great win for Cincinnati, especially when whenever Cincinnati gets expectations, it seems like, especially during this season, they normally they normally fumbled the ball. But they really performed well here against Kansas City, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see this matchup again in the playoffs, and I'm actually very excited to see it. But yeah, the Chiefs got lost in the jungle, and it's not as if Kansas City didn't, they looked pretty good. They kind of stalled out a little bit in the in the second half. They definitely didn't come out with the same offensive firepower, but I also kind of attribute that to what Cincinnati was doing defensively. But yeah, great win for Joe Burrow and for Jamar. They literally did the meme again, where it's like, oh, screw it, Jamar Chase is somewhere down there, I'm just gonna throw it. They even made reference to it. So, and Dan, I know a little harsh subject, but Cincinnati won the AFC North with that win. So,
no, they deserved it. They were clearly the best team in the AFC North this year, and I think this was a game for me. And I'm sorry if I cut you off there, Carlos. I didn't know if you were done.
Oh no, you didn't. I was pretty much done with my point there.
Cool. Yeah, I was just gonna say, last week, at least in a lot of people's minds, it was like, okay, you had a huge game against the Ravens secondary, which is has a practice squad secondary. It was impressive still, regardless of who you go up against. But this was a big game for Joe Burrow, as far as, let's see what he can do against another strong playoff opponent. And he went out there and he was unbelievable. Anytime you throw for over 400 yards in a game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, he was perfect. What else can you say? And yeah, the combination of he and Jamar Chase, if those two guys can stick around on this Bengals team, it doesn't matter who else they have. Those guys could be dangerous. Obviously, you still have to build around them for the future, and I think that defense is concerning for sure. But right now, those two guys, I can't think right now of a better combination on offense in football. Maybe Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. That's probably it for me. I really think Burrow and Jamar Chase, they are the dynamic duo right now.
Yeah, so that's a very good point there while you're saying a dynamic duo, because I remember at the beginning of the season, Carlos was like, "I don't think Jamar Chase is the right pick here." And yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
there's always
well,
room
hold on. Let's preface.
Carlos
let's
wasn't
preface
the
it with
only
this.
one.
I'm still
Yeah.
not wrong that Jamar Chase, while he's still
I'm not
a dynamic
saying you were
playmaker,
wrong.
game changer. No. But I'm saying I'm still not wrong in terms of this because, yes, they're making these big plays, and Jamar Chase is putting up crazy numbers. But Joe Burrow's getting killed back there.
Absolutely.
That offensive line isn't helping him. So that's all I got to say. Like, I was, ultimately, it was a good pick, but it still wasn't necessarily what they needed. But it's definitely helped in my, I don't know.
Well, and it helps when two guys played together in college too, and they already had that connection when Jamar Chase came to the Bengals. So it's kind of like they picked up where they left off essentially, and that's also something like maybe like scouts in the future will say, and I'm sure it's been said before, but like when they see a college quarterback have a chance to be reunited with one of his receivers, maybe you see something like this and you say, well, this is what you have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a match made in heaven if these two guys can get together and play on the same offense again. So something to consider. But like I said, I'm sure it already happens. But yeah, it was just an insane game, and it was pretty much the Jamar and Joe show. I mean, that was it.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
I mean, those guys accounted for so much of their offense in this game. Just the fact that 266 receiving yards for Jamar Chase. It's just mind-boggling. If you play on rookie on Madden, you could probably get 200. 300's pushing it, but getting as many yards receiving as he did was just insane. And it kind of proves that like there's no dominant defense in the AFC in my opinion. Like they're all sort of struggling in a lot of ways, which I think is one reason why the AFC side of things is more intriguing for me in the playoffs because even right now, like we don't know who's going to even be in the playoffs. Number one, number two. Oh, I guess in the wild card spots at this point. Yeah. I mean, we know who the division winners and all that are going to be, so that's pretty much decided.
I mean, I think the other thing. I mean, but Cincinnati defensively in this game did a great job of containing Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I think that was the X factor here is that those guys didn't really get going. Patrick Mahomes had to really rely on other guys, and they delivered for the most part. But ultimately, if you can limit what, if you can limit what the damage that Travis Kelce and the damage that Tyreek Hill can do to you. I mean, they pretty much pitched a shutout in the second half. Now that I'm looking at it, I mean, Kansas City only scored the field goal in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, and they were hot going into halftime. Like you said, it was
Yeah.
it was a 28-17 game, and Kansas City had scored 14 in both the first and second quarter. So usually it's the other way around for Kansas City. It seems like they start slow and they finish hot, but this game was the opposite. They started fast and finished.
I mean, definitely Cincinnati turned it on at the end, and like I think, I mean, you got to give credit to to Joe Burrow, to that coaching staff for like really refocusing that team
Coaches.
and like getting them to come out. I mean, Kansas City's not an easy opponent. They've been hot the past month, month and a half. I mean, and they were. I mean, it seemed like they had the 1 seed wrapped up. Now they don't. Now with this loss, they don't. And now it looks like Tennessee's probably going to get it, which is going to be a problem considering that gives Derrick Henry more time to heal up.
And there's a good chance he'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah, but of course we got to preface that with we don't know if he's going to be in football shape when he comes back or not.
It'll be like Cheeseburger Eddie Lacy or something.
I don't think he'll be that, but I don't know if he'll be like if he'll still be at the level he was when he got hurt.
Right. Physical condition, for sure.
And just because he hasn't played in so long, so like his body.
Did we lose
He
him?
might not. Yeah,
I'm still here.
I think. Yeah.
You good?
I got confused there. I don't know what happened.
I think you might have cut out there once or twice, Carlos.
I didn't really say. I didn't say anything really much of substance during that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would say to sort of wrap this Bengals season in a bow is what a job that Zach Taylor has done taking over there. I mean, a lot of people were like, first of all, who is he? Second of all, why would you hire him?
From the McVay coaching tree.
Yeah, like what? It doesn't make sense here. And you got to give them credit. Obviously, last season was very difficult for them. They had a ton of injuries. A very young team, inexperienced team. We saw that on the field. And what a comeback they've had this year. They've been healthy, well, much healthier this year. They haven't really had a whole lot of guys on IR pretty much all season. They've stayed consistently healthy, which is key if you're going to make a run to the postseason. And the Bengals have definitely used that. But I think, too, you have to consider I mean, Joe Burrow being the comeback kid that he's been. I think if Dak Prescott had the season he's had after the terrible injury, Joe Burrow, comeback player of the year, whatever you'd want to call it, like he would be right up there as well. So, got to give him a ton of credit for what he's been able to accomplish this season. And the Bengals are a very dangerous team. I was very skeptical of them, especially after, like I said, they beat the banged up Ravens. They've beaten some really not so great defenses, but they made a huge statement with this win. This was a statement win for them, and they win the AFC North, and they're it's well deserved. Every other team has been either bad, Cleveland, banged up like Cleveland, and Cleveland has as well. Cleveland and Baltimore and Pittsburgh have really all had
a lot of injuries. Really feel, Dan. Tell me how you really feel.
Cleveland. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, you got to credit Cincinnati for what they've been able to accomplish. I mean, they were hungry. A lot of people, including ourselves, thought they would be not good this year. They beat the bottom of the barrel, right? And they've lived up past everyone's expectations. And I'm not going to say anything yet about concluding their season because I want to see how they do in the postseason. I think that's really what's big for me because we've seen the Bengals have good regular seasons before. They've gotten to the postseason and they've come up short. I mean, think of all those years they've gone without winning a playoff game. So for me, that's the big thing. Can you get a couple playoff wins? And if they do,
they just need to get one. I mean, you got the home game in the wild card round. I mean, they just have to win that one, and they're already doing better than any Marvin Lewis led team.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
true.
And that's going to be a big ask just because of how close the AFC is this year.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Looking at these stats, I find it very crazy that Joe Mixon only had 46 rushing yards. But
it was an air raid attack, pretty much.
Yeah, air raid attack. That's what I was going to say. Joe Burrow, almost 500 yards in the air. Jamar Chase, 266 receiving yards. That is absolutely huge. And if you look at those numbers compared to Kansas City's numbers, only Darrell Williams had 88 yards. Their top receiver was Mecole Hardman with 53 yards.
Yeah.
I think that was the huge difference in this game.
100%.
A lot of those big numbers came in the first half too. It seemed like Kansas City sort of. I'm not going to say they let their foot off the gas, but they kind of did in a way.
In a way, yeah.
And it kind of let the Bengals get back in the game, but yeah. It's if you just looked at the box score and asked me who won the game, I would have said like Cincinnati won by a lot. Like this was a beatdown, but this game was a lot closer on the scoreboard than it was in the box score. So.
A lot of there was I want to also say I mean I want to throw T. Higgins some love too. I mean T. Higgins made some great catches, some great plays. I mean. He's a guy who's really flown under the radar since Jamar Chase has shown up. And, I mean, he was one of the top receivers at Clemson when he was there with, of course, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think we pretty much touched on everything. I mean, the Bengals, if they can keep putting out at this level, they'll be – I think they can definitely win at least a playoff game. Now, I'm not saying Super Bowl because I don't think they can make it to the Super Bowl.
I agree with you.
Not with that offensive line. I mean, some defenses are, like Bill Belichick. If they have to face him, that's going to be a problem.
It's going to be tough.
He's going to feast, which is a possibility. And for Kansas City, they got to figure out what went wrong in that second half. I can't necessarily because it didn't necessarily feel like a collapse in my like. It felt like they were still in it. It's just they weren't finishing drives.
I agree with you.
So I think they just got to go more back to what they were doing in the first half. figure out what really went wrong in the second half, and then just, they have a short week. Because they're playing Saturday along with my Cowboys, so Saturday is going to be a big football day for me. But whatever issues they happen in the second half, I'm pretty sure they've already identified them, addressed them, and they're moving on now and focusing on Denver. I don't know if they're going to play their starters in that game or not. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I think with the way playoff seeding is going right now, they kind of have to, just for seeding purposes. But I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I'll just finish by saying I'm not concerned about Kansas City. They've been there, done that. They've been there, done that. And, they understand that you can have a couple slip-ups at the end of the season. They're already in playoff position. If I trust anybody to get through the postseason on the AFC side, it's with no issues. Maybe with no issues, but, a team that you trust the most, it's got to be Kansas City. They've been there. They've done that. Cincinnati hasn't, and they're sort of a young, cocky kind of team. And I could see them losing in the first round. I really could.
It just depends on who they draw.
Yeah.
Because if they get if they get the Patriots, that's going to be tough.
Yes, absolutely.
Been there, done that. 34-31. The Bengals over the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't speak tonight, excuse me. The Bengals over the Chiefs. We will have more football for you right after this short break. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you about Regroup Building Services. If you're looking to get your home remodeled, any part of your home, bathroom, kitchen, want to get a deck built, anything like that, Regroup Building Services can just about do everything. And take it from me, because they came in and they remodeled my family's kitchen, and they do a great job. So if you're looking for any sort of home remodeling needs, deck work done, anything of that nature, reach out to my guy Sean Hibbard over at Regroup Building Services today. You can check them out on their website, www.regroupbuildingservices.com, where they do the honeydews that your honey don't. Make sure you tell them Josh sent you. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. All right, welcome back. The three-man booth. I am joined by the weapon, Dan Dembski, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. It's time to get into the next game on our slate. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Arizona
How about
Cardinals.
them Cowboys? Sorry, go ahead.
Dan, I will smack the living hell out of you.
I was doing a Stephen A. Smith impression, all right?
No,
it's not me making fun of them. I have no right to talk shit about any team except Washington.
It wasn't enthusiastic enough. It wasn't enthusiastic enough.
Okay, I'll stop.
Because he's so animated when he does that.
He gets paid a lot of money. I'd be animated too.
Yeah. So this was a game Carlos and myself live streamed. So this I took a lot out of this game.
Did you? Did you, Kirby? Did you really? Did you really take a lot out of this game? You know what? Shush. Let the Cowboy fans speak here, okay? Because it's my opinion that matters on this team.
Again. Damn.
It's my opinion that matters here, okay? When it comes to the Cowboys. I am sick and tired of this. This is absolutely toxic, okay? It feels like being in a toxic relationship with this team. I can't take it anymore.
Why does everything have to be a monologue?
Is this the same Cowboys team that routed Washington last week? I mean, it didn't seem like it by the way their offensive production worked. I mean, their offense was so lackluster in comparison to last week, where Dak Prescott was throwing to fat men in the end zone for a touchdown.
Speak on it, Kirby. Speak on it. Speak on it.
You also got to think of the level of defense he's going against. Like
speak on it, Dan. Speak
Washington
on it.
has no defense at all. I'm pretty sure an old lady could have thrown 4 touchdowns against Washington's defense and secondary. So I mean, the Cardinals are definitely a tougher defense now. Dallas's defense was not as strong as they normally are, but they also didn't give up a whole lot of points. Like they kept them in this game.
There was no explosion.
Yeah.
And I think another main factor, we might be talking about a different result here if Greg Zuerlein nails the short field goal.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily work that way, like just because like I mean, the thing is you can't expect to win that game by having 3 lackluster quarters where you only put up 1 touchdown before halftime. You know, like that's my issue with this Cowboys team. Okay, hold on. Like there's so many places I could go with this. First off, the refs did not cost us this game. I'm tired of this narrative that's being put out there by the Cowboys themselves, trying to say that the refs screwed us out of this game. Did they miss calls? Absolutely. That fumble, I don't blame the refs for not calling that a fumble at the end, because in real time, it didn't look like a fumble. And no ref is going to be able to, like, you had to really watch that replay a few times to really see that it was a fumble. Now, here's the problem. Dallas got outcoached. They got outcoached by Cliff Kingsbury, of all people. Whoever would have thought that? Mike McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning coach who's got a street named after him in Green Bay, gets outcoached by, a guy who got fired from Texas Tech. Like who would have ever thought that, with Cliff Kingsbury causing Dallas to call that timeout early in the second half, or was it early in the fourth? I don't remember when it happened, but by confusing Dallas and making them call that timeout, that costed them at the end. Then they couldn't challenge that play. But that's not the reason why we lost this game. Yes, there's some calls that were missed that people are picking out now that the all 22 footage is out. But ultimately, Dallas was the one who kept shooting themselves in the foot. It was a poor game plan offensively. Arizona was blitzing us all night, and instead of attacking them, we were just we were just caught flat-footed and not like trying to wear them out. And we completely abandoned the run game. We only had 46 yards of rushing between Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. That's insane. And another thing, Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, where are you? Like, can we put out an Amber Alert for them? Because they have, sure, Amari Cooper caught that touchdown, right? But he only had 18 yards 18 receiving yards throughout the whole game. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And just I don't know. I'm frustrated defensively. I felt like we did pretty good defensively. We just couldn't get to Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray is just so shifty. He's just so elusive. He's so good. He can be good when he's healthy. Ultimately, it just felt like Arizona just wanted it more. They just wanted this way more than Dallas did. They were desperate because, of course, they're on that 3-game losing streak. Their playoff lives are they're not on the line, but seeding wise, they went from being the 1 seed to now they're the 5 seed. They're still in it to win the division at least. It's just from what I saw those first 3 quarters, I don't understand what Kellen Moore was thinking, because we come out against Washington the week before. We come out quick. We're running with tempo, and we had none of that. We just had none of that in this game, and it wasn't until it was the fourth quarter. It's so hard to going into that fourth quarter to win that game. We needed everything to go perfectly for us. That's a hard ask because we know in football nothing goes perfectly, and so in this case, Dallas lost this game more than Arizona wanted, in my opinion, because of they put up 3 lackluster quarters offensively, and then in the fourth quarter just expected to turn it on and win. It's ridiculous to me, and they need to stop blaming the refs. They need to look at themselves and understand, hey, we costed ourselves this opportunity to lock up that 2 seed, and now we're probably going to have to reface this team in 2 weeks. What are we going to do about it now? So it's just so frustrating because 1 week we look dominant, and we're supposed to beat up on teams like Washington, right? You're supposed to do that, but you got to put out something better than what you put out here. And Kellen Moore is starting to piss me off the way he's just these lackluster games constantly. Like what are we doing? You saw it work last week. Why are we not doing more of that? Why is it taking you until we're down, 3 scores to start bringing out those trick plays like we did with Zach Wilson? Or not Zach Wilson, I'm sorry. Is it? No, it's not Zach Wilson. Wilson, whatever the heck, number 1. I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, that's all. That's it. I'm just tired of this constant up and down with this Dallas team right now.
Well, it's like Cliff Kingsbury said. The Cardinals are in good shape when they don't turn the football over and they are disciplined and stuff like that. And I feel like that was the difference in this game. So obviously the Cowboys just had the 1 fumble, and that to me was huge because the Cardinals protected the ball. And so that to me is the difference in this game when you have a close game like this. Like if you can hold on to the ball, if you don't have a whole lot of penalties, and Dallas ended up having 10 penalties to the Cardinals 7. So a very penalized game for Dallas. It definitely look, sometimes teams need a kind of not a slap in the face, but they need a little bit of a bitter taste to get back on track. And
yeah, but how many bitter tastes do we need? We lost to Tampa Bay at the beginning of the season, okay? I mean, we played admirably and that lost, I guess. Sure. Denver, we got completely smacked around by Denver. Vegas, now the refs did screw us out of the Vegas thing, but they screwed both teams in that game, okay? Kansas City, we put up nothing in Kansas City. And now, how many wake-up calls does Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy need to be like, hey, what we're doing offensively is not working. Why are we abandoning the run right now?
Well, the thing is, Dallas still has a chance to move up in the seeding. They'd have to get a little bit of help, but not a whole lot. I mean, they're pretty much locked in. They're obviously locked into the the 4th seed right now. Win or lose, it doesn't really make a difference. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about Dallas just because of how kind of they've been a little flip floppy at times, and that's a word I just made up, and it sounds like something that a preschool teacher would say. But it really kind of seems like they are back and forth. Like we saw what they did last week. They came out dominant. I think a lot of people thought after last week's game, including myself, okay, Packers are probably the most impressive team, but now the way Dallas was playing, I said Dallas is a team to watch out for. And then they have kind of a stinker performance to follow it up. So I don't know what to think of them, to be completely honest with you, Carlos.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
It could very likely be one and done for us. We could very likely face Arizona again, and they're going to beat us again. Yeah. If we come out looking like that, we cannot come out looking like that. They can't wait until the fourth quarter to have that urgency. There was no urgency in this game. That's the other thing that was pissing me off. There was no urgency in this Dallas team. The defense is holding the Cardinals back. Stopping Kyler Murray. But once again, the offense, nothing. Schultz was the only guy who was consistently getting targets, getting catches, getting yards. But where the heck is CeeDee Lamb? Where the heck is Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper last week was complaining about about wanting to be more involved or in the offense. Got his wish against Washington, but then completely disappears in this game. Where are you? You're supposed to be you're supposed to be our version of Devontae Adams, but you're not making these plays. It's just frustrating. And then the penalties they gotta clean these penalties up. They really have to, because we saw every time Dallas would get something going, they would have a drive killing penalty right there, holding. it was mostly holding penalties, false starts, just like stuff that's just killing them.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much spot on. And I think something else to keep in mind is, shoot. You know, obviously losing Michael Gallup for the season now.
Yep, I was literally about to bring that up too.
You know, now you need to see CeeDee Lamb step up. You need to see
Amari
Cooper step up. Thank you. Those guys are going to have to, because now you don't have Michael Gallup, who Michael Gallup he's a very solid receiver, and he really is, like, when you need something, when you need a big play, when you need an igniter, Dallas goes to Michael Gallup. They don't have that now, so you got to keep that in mind too. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Carlos. I mean, this team has weapons and they have the potential to make a deep playoff run, but I just don't know. I mean, they're so wishy-washy week to week. You just don't know which Dallas team is going to show up. And if they go into the playoffs and they play disciplined football and they protect the football, I think Dallas, I really think they can hang with any team on the NFC side. I really do. I think they can beat Tampa. I don't know about Green Bay, but I know they can beat Tampa.
Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys are Jake Gyllenhaal, and the fans are Taylor Swift. We're in a toxic relationship right now, okay, boys? We're in a toxic relationship. Okay,
that is toxic. Damn.
I mean, we're so up and down. Like, one week we feel great, one week we feel like this, where we feel like the world is ending. It's just so hot and cold with this team, and it's just getting so frustrating. Like, we've seen what this team can do, but ever since the bye week, like, we've only had 2 blips of what we had before the bye week.
Yeah, and you know what? That also goes back to coaching. And, you know, you mentioned Kellen Moore. We've talked about all season, like, okay, is he the right guy? He kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, he was playing for Dallas, right? And, you know, all of a sudden he was sort of
all of a sudden he was the offensive coordinator.
Right. He was thrust from, like, a quarterback coach or some sort of offensive assistant to boom. But all of a sudden you're a coordinator. And, he doesn't really have any credentials, and he's out there calling the plays. So that's something to think about, too, in the offseason. Like, is he the right guy? Or
this is only his 3rd year, you know, being an NFL coach, being a coach in general, you know, because, again, he was the backup quarterback. Then he went into coaching, and now he's the offensive coordinator. This is only his 3rd year doing this. So I don't know.
Quick rise.
I just... He started off great, like, he had great game plans. I mean, but since the bye, like, it's just like he's so conservative, and then, like, he doesn't know how to adjust. And I'm like, why are, like, a lot of wide receiver screens that just don't make sense in that situation on 3rd and longs? I don't know. I'm frustrated at him, because, like, he was supposed to be, like, the guy, you know, like, this offensive mastermind, and he's just proven that he's not. And I think you're right. I think that might be a question we have to ask ourselves in the offseason if this continues, and if we go into the playoffs and have a lackluster offensive performance again. Is Kellen Moore the guy, or should we bring somebody with more experience who can help, you know, these guys? We have so much firepower offensively, you know, and who can guide, like, this offense to play at the level that we expect them to play, just like how Dan Quinn helped the defense. You know, it's just, there's a lot of when we have games like this, Dallas ends up leaving that game with a lot more questions than answers. And we're at the end of the season. That's not a good place to be. We should be rolling at this point. And it looked like we were heading that direction after the Washington game, but this just was not good enough. And the fact that this is a team that we're probably going to reface again is it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, and I'll just finish by saying this about your offense. When you have 12 combined carries between Elliott and Pollard and just bad, abysmal rushing numbers, Dallas is not going to win that way. I mean, they have to establish the run even a little bit. And, you know, part of that was them falling behind early in the game. They had to throw it. I get it. That's just the nature of the game. But if they can't establish the run, especially early in the game, I don't see them getting far in the playoffs. I really don't. Because there's only so much Dak can do. I mean, he played a great game in this game, honestly. His numbers.
I mean, he played a great fourth quarter.
Yeah, fair.
Dak played a great fourth quarter. He did not play a great first 3 quarters.
Yeah. So it's tough. We'll see what happens. If they can get back on track next week, I'll have more faith in them. But we'll see. Who knows?
So here's my point from this, and I'd like to talk about the Cardinals here for a moment.
Yeah.
Going into this game, I thought that the Dallas Cowboys clearly had the upper hand based off of their performance last week and the fact that Kyler Murray was without one of his biggest weapons in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, Dallas was the healthier team.
Absolutely. So you look here, and Kyler Murray with 263 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. You have Christian Kirk, 6 receptions, 79 yards. AJ Green, 3 receptions, 74 yards. Zach Ertz, 7 receptions, 41 yards. Wesley, 4 receptions, 30 yards in the 2 touchdowns in the air that Kyler Murray threw. I mean, he was spreading the ball around, and he had many weapons. And he didn't really need DeAndre Hopkins at all in this game, because I feel like he spread the football out evenly to each receiver and Zach Ertz, the tight end, obviously. And they did a really good job doing that. And I think that's another reason why the Cardinals were so successful in this football game.
Yeah. When Kyler spreads the ball around, they're a tough team to beat. And yeah, that was kind of a clinic he put on. And I've been very critical of Kyler a lot this season, I know. So it is nice to see him kind of have a game where he kind of silences people a little bit. But yeah, the Cardinals are interesting to me. They've kind of been hot and cold as well. I mean, they've had some good games. They've had some stinkers as well. So they're kind of in a similar spot to me as far as Dallas. I think Dallas is definitely more talented, and Dallas has a much better defense. But again, we just need to see consistency. I think for both these teams, that's just the key for me at this point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So any last words from you on this game, Carlos, or are you good?
I mean, the last thing I'll say is I like Micah Parsons' response at the end of the game. He didn't blame the refs the way the rest of the team was trying to do. He was like, listen, like, it's on us. Like, I liked how I like Micah Parsons' mentality leaving that game, being like, hey, we got to fix like what we did wrong. So
that's a leader.
I like to give him a shout out. You know, weird that the rookie is the adult in the room, but yeah, just I don't know. It's just so hard being a Cowboys fan sometimes, but we'll get it right again. The starters are playing against Philly, so we'll hopefully we can get it right and we can go into the playoffs with some momentum.
Absolutely. So the Arizona Cardinals over the Dallas Cowboys 25-22. The next game that we will be talking about that's not really about the game. Yes, this was a very shocking, very interesting result that came down to the end. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the New York Jets 28-24, with the New York Jets leading most of this game. And but the big storyline coming out of this game is that we're hearing from Mr. Antonio Brown once again, and that comes in the form of him getting into some sort of verbal altercation on the sideline, proceeds to take his uniform off, throws his shirt and gloves into the stands, proceeds to run across the field of play with his hands up and down, flapping or whatever he's doing, and running into the locker room. And I mean, once again, we're hearing from Antonio Brown. How many times have we heard from Antonio Brown? It's getting ridiculous, in my opinion. And he ran into the locker room. Nobody knew what was going on, what was happening. After the game, apparently, Dan, you said that he was waiting for an Uber outside of the stadium. I'm not sure.
Apparently, it was confirmed.
It was confirmed.
Yeah, there was a picture. Yep, it was true.
There's a picture. It was confirmed. It wasn't rumors.
Well, and then he stays in New York to watch the Nets game. I saw that as well. And Bruce Arians makes a statement saying Antonio Brown is no longer a Buccaneer, but the Buccaneers at this point still hold his contract. They are in talks with the National Football League about what their next step should be in terms of Antonio Brown. But this could be Antonio Brown's last time on a football field.
Well, he doesn't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's made that pretty clear. So,
yeah,
and
I agree.
I'll say this. I said this in the group chat. I hope if there is something going on, which no one can speculate. A lot of people have. I've speculated that this is a mental health thing. It kind of seems like 100%. It is. I hope he gets the necessary help. And I learned something about Antonio Brown that I didn't know. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. This is sort of, the guy's had a really, really difficult life. He was homeless at the age of 16, just to tell you a little bit of the trials and tribulations he's been through. So, again, really hope he gets the help he needs. You forget just, his numbers. He's like a Hall of Fame receiver with the numbers he put up in his time with the Steelers, his one game with New England, and then, of course, the 2 seasons he spent, almost 2 full seasons with Tampa. And we all know how it ended in Pittsburgh. There was controversy surrounding his exit there. It's followed him everywhere, and I think a lot of people point to that hit by Vontaze Burfict. And again, it's hard to speculate because you don't know. But that's when a lot of people said his attitude sort of changed and stuff like that after that. I don't want to speculate if that's true or not. It's just sort of a side note, and it's kind of important to this discussion. But I think overall he's such a great player, and it's just really a shame. And I just really hope he gets the help he needs. And if he gets the help he needs and he's still able to play football, I hope another team gives him a chance, because it's obvious he's had a rough life. He's had a rough go of things. My condolences are to him. And Tom Brady said something that I thought was really, really great. He said, he's like, I love AB. Like he's like family to me. And, we've done a lot for each other since I brought him here. And obviously they were teammates in New England as well, for one game again. But he said, I'll be here to support him because that's what family does. So, or something along those lines. I thought that was pretty cool of Brady to say that. And we all know Brady's played with thousands of players, maybe not thousands, but he's played with a lot of players in his career. And he probably doesn't have a lot of people he would say that about. I'm just saying, there's probably only a handful of people he would say the same thing about, but that's what I'll say.
Yeah, for me, it's just like, you're right, Dan. It just doesn't seem like AB wants to really play anymore. I don't think any other team should really sign him, especially right now. Not until he's shown he's gotten help, all that. Because the problem is that Tampa Bay, by signing him and by keeping him on after after the fake vaccine card shenanigans, they really enabled this type of behavior. And this was the only way it was going to end up, to be completely honest. It had been a while since any situation with Antonio Brown had shown up or had happened, and it was only really a matter of time. And I agree. If this is a mental health issue, which I also think it is, but that's all speculation, of course. I hope he does get the help he needs, but I just don't think, from a football standpoint, that any team should really be thinking about signing him or anything like that, because it's clear. He just quit on his team, and that's not something that you should really reward in this type of game where it's such a team game, I guess. I don't know, but in terms of Antonio Brown the person, I hope he gets help. I hope that if it is something like a serious mental health issue, I hope that he gets help.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I agree too. Yes, it probably, and once again, I don't want to speculate, but in his past incidents that Antonio Brown has had, I mean, it might have not have been evident that he may or may not have had mental health issues, but it sort of coming to light, maybe. Who knows? But if he does, I just hope and pray he gets the help he needs. I mean, just a very interesting sequence that happened this Sunday. But I mean, looking at this game briefly, boys, the Jets almost beat this Buccaneers team, and you look at the ageless wonder making a comeback without Chris Godwin and without Antonio Brown.
Can I just add one more thing that we forget about?
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
That he was on the Raiders for like a week. In the
a little longer than a week, but
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that
whole
thing
helmet drama thing. His feet.
I almost didn't remember that.
Yeah, I just looked back and I was like, the Raiders, and then I'd forgotten that he was like signed.
He was traded to the Raiders,
traded.
And then they ended up having to release him because
it was almost the beginning of the season. I remember because it was like, I believe they released him like early in the week, and the first game of the season was either on Sunday or was like the following week or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
they released him before the first. They released him like at the end of the preseason.
Yeah,
and then
it was like September. It was like early September. Yeah.
Yeah, then he went and signed with the Patriots, and then for just
Played
that
for
one game.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't keep his act together, and not even a week on the Patriots he gets released because he was making threats to people. So
yeah, that was when it was really dangerous.
It's he's a very problematic person right now, and he's just very toxic to team environment, like to the team environment. I feel like, but according to Bruce Arians, before this incident, he had been a model citizen. Like he had been he hadn't been an issue, and then just all of a sudden this just completely blows up. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like, it's just like, you guys signed him, you guys knew what you were kind of getting into. Tom Brady tried to keep him in line, and Tom Brady couldn't keep him in line. So if Tom Brady can't keep a guy in line and focused and wanting, twice, twice pretty much. If he can't do it, and Antonio Brown's already won a Super Bowl, and they're in contention to win another Super Bowl. Exactly. What makes you think he's going to be the same coming to your team? Like, it's not as if Tampa Bay was, sure, at that point when he left the game they were losing, but like he was going to be getting a bigger role, But he was going to be getting a bigger role anyways because of the Godwin injury. He was going to be the number 2, whereas when Godwin was playing, he was number 3. Like what more did this guy want? He just doesn't want to play. He just doesn't care. He's in the business for himself. So, and I understand, like, you do have to be a little selfish in football, of course, because your career can end at any moment. But like, this is like you literally left the stadium midway through the game when your team needs you. So yeah, I don't know. I just from an NFL standpoint, I hope no team ever signs him again. Like I'm that's just how I feel. I feel like he does not deserve to take an NFL roster spot.
Yeah, until he seeks help for himself and he,
But he won't. I don't think he will. I don't think he will, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, he's done with football, and like you said, there's no team that's really going to take a chance on him, especially because of all these outbursts. And we saw with the COVID vaccine card, Bruce Arians was, he defended him, which was surprising to me, because that to me is like just idiocy in and of itself to do what he did. But yeah, Bruce Arians was like, yeah, I mean, he's, he defended him and stood up for him, and then that's how you kind of repay him. And yeah, I mean, there's something off there for sure, whatever it is. And I just hope he gets help. And yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's all I got too.
All right,
great comeback by the Bucs, though. I'll say that.
Yes.
But before we move on, actually, really quick, Are you guys concerned for the Buccaneers because of now they don't have Antonio Brown? Now they only have Mike Evans, who is struggling to stay healthy. Obviously, Gronk is Gronk, but he can also be injury prone. They're missing a lot of players going into this, into this playoff.
They're missing
run,
Godwin
last year. Whereas last year they had the healthiest team, and that's what really pushed them to get to the Super Bowl. Was
good point.
And also their defense was stopping the run. They're not stopping the run anymore, and like they were just playing at in a historic level going into the playoffs last year. Are you guys concerned for the Buccaneers this year, like, or going into the playoffs this year? Like, what? How do you guys feel?
Absolutely not, because they have one man, Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Kirby a little bit on this one, and I hate to use that as a cop-out, but it's Tom Brady.
All right, so I'm the odd man out. I'm worried for the Bucs. I really am.
You can't bet against Tom Brady, man. If there's anything we've learned in all these years of watching,
with how the NFL,
look,
hold on. Look at who they just almost lost to. Look at what miraculous effort he had to do against the Jets. You think you're going to do that against Green Bay and Lambeau with a full stadium this time? You think you're going to do that against the Rams, who already beat the brakes off of them one go around?
Green Bay almost lost to the Ravens, okay? Green Bay almost lost to the Ravens.
But the Ravens played the game of their lives.
Every team has those slip-ups.
But here's where I'm going with this. Brady doesn't have all the weapons that he had going into last. He doesn't have Godwin.
Right.
He doesn't have Antonio Brown now. All he has is Mike Evans, who isn't healthy, who's struggling to stay healthy.
Him and Gronk have quite the.
Okay, but you have one guy. You have one guy basically, Gronk. That's it. The defense isn't stopping people. That's the other thing. Their defense isn't playing at the level that they were playing at last year.
Yeah. I mean,
so for me as a team, I'm worried for the Bucs. Obviously, like, you can't count out Brady, but I just think as a team, I don't know if they can overcome all these injuries and such.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, I think Tom Brady. I think with all the injuries, obviously it's going to be next man up, but I think Tom Brady is going to coach these guys stepping up in roles just fine. And I mean, once again, you can't bet against Tom Brady, and I think that's the mindset right here for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team.
I mean, I guess it has to be, but like, just from an outside perspective, I don't think they're going to do it this year.
And you could be right, but once again, I'm not betting against Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm not.
I hear you guys. I hear you guys.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about it is, like, Brady makes his receivers around him better. So this will be a chance, maybe not to prove how good we know how great Tom Brady is. We know he's at least in my mind, he's the GOAT. There's no questions asked about that. He's got the wins, he's got the Super Bowls, he's got the numbers, he's got everything you have to be the GOAT. This might be the toughest playoffs he's ever been in, because, like you said, he doesn't have the same weapons that he normally had. And I mean, this is where we're gonna have to see guys like Rashad Perryman step up. Really step up. I mean, he's had a couple nice catches. I know, like, he had a touchdown like 3 weeks ago. I remember that. I think it was a Sunday night game that he scored the game-winning touchdown, whatever it was. I can't remember now. But anyway, in my mind, I think if any quarterback or any team in this league can do this, it's Brady and it's the Bucs. Now I think one thing they're going to have to do is, most definitely, they're going to have to establish the run, which they didn't do in this game. I mean, Ronald Jones only had 26 rushing yards. Vaughn only had a little bit more than that. He had 31 rushing yards, and they also signed Le'Veon Bell, which I'd forgotten about, but he's also on their roster as well, which is surprising to me. So I think the key thing for them is, they might have to change their attack a little bit. They're not going to be able to go stretch the field with some of these faster guys. Obviously, Mike Evans is going to be like he was before. He's going to be the number one guy again. And I wouldn't say I'm concerned. I'm just interested to see how they do and how they change their game plan, because it definitely changes. And you can't discredit what Antonio Brown was doing too. I mean, he was putting up great numbers for them and really being a great receiver. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, like, I'm with Kirby. Like, you can't bet against Brady ever. especially in the postseason. Brady's a different animal.
All right. That is Antonio Brown's situation as the Bucs squeak away from a win in New York. Coming up next, the hurry-up offense. You don't want to miss it. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. I am back with the three-man booth. It is time for the hurry-up offense, and we will not take as long as the boys did last week. Are we ready?
LOL. That's funny, because just wait till we get to the Ravens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take too long on that. I've said my piece to myself.
All right. All right. Let me just start by the Eagles and the football team. Obviously, the football team can't go out and score any points in the second half. Unfortunate interception. And the Eagles seal the deal. The Packers win on Sunday night, and the Eagles are in the playoffs. In FedEx Field, what a disaster.
Just collapsing in front of our eyes.
Jalen Hurts, railing falls down. It's absolutely terrible, but no points in the second half. Scott Turner plays conservative the rest of the game, and Washington football team ends up losing. You can't go into a football game only scoring points in the first half.
I'll retweet that because that's what happened in our game. But yeah, the Eagles, they're kind of a scrappy team, and they've had sort of they started the season very rough, and they've played really well recently. And I don't think they're going to make any noise in the postseason. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely something like it's like a preview of what to see in the future. I think for the Eagles, if they can stay the course and Jalen Hurts continues to improve, I can see them being a tough team. Obviously, stepping up to Dallas's level in that division is not in the near future, I don't think. But I think I was impressed with the way the Eagles played. And I know Washington, they've had their turbulence at times this year, most of the season, I should say. Watch and don't lean on the railing at FedEx Field. Good God, you will break a leg.
It's incredible that we got out of there unscathed when we went.
Yeah, with Kirby leaning on the front row there, it's amazing.
Kirby, you were at risk.
Oh my gosh!
I thought he was gonna flip over the rail. He was so.
All right. Anyway. The next game on our slate.
Whoa, that was it?
I got completely skipped on this.
I didn't know you wanted to add anything, Carlos. Wow. I thought you.
I just wanted to add that. Yeah, who cares about this game? Let's just talk about the fact that Washington's finally going to get their team name, and there is a heavy favorite that I don't know if you want to say on this podcast, but spoiler alert, it looks like this is what's going to happen.
Footballs.
I'm not speculating. I honestly have.
I think I know what it is.
I don't know. I have more things to be worried about than speculating on what the team name's going to be on 2/2/22.
Okay, whatever you say, buddy.
No, okay. and no, he doesn't. He's got a countdown set for that, I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. He's full of it. He's full of it.
The Bills and the Falcons.
See, look, he's trying to move on.
It's the hurry. Have you heard of the hurry-up offense?
Keep going! I'm telling you to keep going.
29-15, the Buffalo Bills over the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons are eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah,
skip it.
Just a mismatch, and it showed.
The Bears over the Giants, 29-3.
Yeah, skip it.
The Raiders beating the Colts. I wasn't surprised. Carson Wentz, you could see he was missing a week of practice because he was in the COVID protocol coming back. I picked the Raiders in this game, and the Raiders won off a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, you got to credit them with how they played. Their team has been through a lot, and obviously we found out, earlier this week they've been through even more recently. But they've had a tumultuous season, so the fact that they're able to sort of come together and still play as a formidable team is always impressive to me. And look, Derek Carr didn't play the best game, but the Raiders defense did what they have to do, and it was sort of a throwback win, and also a nice nod to John Madden as well. That it was his esteemed team that he coached for all those years. So yeah, it was a really nice win for the Raiders. I'm sort of happy for them, and Jonathan Taylor had a hell of a game, 108 yards. So I don't think he's the MVP.
Unfortunately, it didn't help his MVP case because they still lost. So
right,
exactly. Good win for the Raiders. They're still alive in the playoff hunt, right? Because next week it's winner take all. So
that's it.
Good win for the Raiders.
All right. The Patriots over the Jaguars 50-10. Skip. The Titans over the Dolphins 34-3. Skip.
Skip that one, yeah.
The Rams over the Ravens 20-19, a game that M&T Bank Stadium was graced by the presence of our truly the weapon, Dan Dembski. Dan, your game day experience at M&T Bank as comparison to FedEx Field. I mean, you had great seats for this game. Yeah, just run it down, the fan experience, what the game was like, everything. Go ahead.
It was night and day. It was $30 to park in a parking garage.
Oh, it must be nice. It must be nice.
There was a 5-minute walk from the stadium. Went to the stadium. They have tons of concessions. I mean, literally as far as you can see.
At reasonable prices?
Okay, so my dad paid $34, but he got 2 hot dogs, chicken strips with fries, 2 beers, a water, and one of those souvenir sodas. All of that.
So reasonable price.
Reasonable price.
Wow.
It was literally night and day from FedEx, just with the costs of everything and
I think they're in the same state.
They're in the same state, yeah. And you know what? When you lean on a rail in M&T Bank, it doesn't collapse. So but no, in all seriousness, it was a really enjoyable fan experience. The stadium wasn't 100% full. It was probably like 75%. There was a smattering of empty seats, but it still got pretty loud at moments, especially when Chuck Clark had the pick six. In the first quarter, that was a huge moment.
Now, did you do what Kirby did when Washington got the interception against Kansas City and start hitting people around you?
I did not. I was a dignified gentleman. I got excited.
There we go.
I definitely got excited, but I didn't. I also didn't slap hands with any strangers, which I normally do at football games, but I did not do this time. I don't know if it was COVID or whatnot, but it was just a really, really fun experience, and obviously the game itself it was deflating, especially at the end. But I will say that I mean M&T Bank they really take care of their fans there, and they also have, which is huge. They have like an out of town scoreboard. They have live like red zone thing that pops in during, which I think every team has the red zone thing, which shows the score.
I don't know. Well, I mean, kind of. I mean, when we went to the Kansas City game, it showed up here and there, but it still was kind of hard to keep track of what was going on.
Right, because there's no out of town scoreboard in FedEx, but they have that at M&T Bank. They have it in the corners, in both corners, so you can look and see like what other teams are doing, which was really nice.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I mean, they made a lot of improvements to the stadium in like the last smattering of years.
So what I'm hearing, Dan, is next year we're going. The 3-man booth is going.
We're going, dude. Oh, we're
We're
going.
going to M&T next year. Screw
I will
FedEx.
say-
We're going to M&T.
I will say getting out of there was it's usually better than it was this time. I don't know what the holdup was. Traffic was a little terrible this time. Of course, I was in the top floor of the parking garage, and I was just sitting there because the cars were kind of backed up getting out.
So there's a parking garage and not a parking lot, I assume. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah, M&T Bank is kind of in the middle of the city.
Yeah, I mean they have parking lots, like they have like tailgate lots and stuff, but we didn't. I mean, I think that's probably $60, $70, whatever.
I see.
The same what you pay in Washington, but yeah, it was nice. I mean, literally the walk into the stadium, you walk past Oriole Park and like through, almost through the Oriole Park gate actually to get to the M&T Bank, and then you have. I sent you guys a video of the Ravens walk they have, where they have like a bunch of stuff for you to do. They have like a live band. It was a really, really good environment and experience. And it was just like I remembered it from, I mean, the last game I went to was like 6 or 7 years ago. It was when the Ravens wore those mustard pants. The only time they've ever worn them. When they had good old Ryan Mallett that year because Joe Flacco had gotten hurt. So yeah, that was the last game I went to. So it was a fun experience, a good day, and obviously the game could have turned out better, but our defense was vastly improved from where we were just a week ago. So
hell, Brent Hundley's amazing. He's a great backup.
He didn't play well in this game though. He didn't have a single touchdown.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Pause.
Yeah.
What did you say his name was?
Brett.
Did you say Brent Hundley?
No, Brett Hundley. That's his name.
He was the Packers' backup quarterback. Like,
Oh,
no, Tyler. I'm sorry.
I was like, I'm sorry. Who are you talking about?
No,
that's the guy.
No, they have
that's the guy from UCLA,
name.
buddy. We're talking about the Utah guy.
Tyler Huntley.
yeah, he's a Utah man.
Yeah, there we go. It's okay.
Tyler
It's okay. We got you.
The thing with the Ravens in this game is they just couldn't finish drives. There was one drive in particular. They had a chance to go up 2 scores and probably put the game out of reach at that point. 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. And just, first of all, terrible play calling. I mean, I've shit on Greg Roman every week on this podcast, which rightfully so. And it came out. It showed up again. Like, for whatever reason in crunch time, this guy just doesn't know how to call a decent play. He can drive you all the way down the field. They can go 90 yards, and for some reason they peter out at the end. It just makes no sense.
I relate.
I know
my pain.
It's so damn frustrating. But I think in general, the defense played really well, especially at the start of the game. Like I said, the pick 6 by Chuck Clark, and then Chuck Clark got a second pick on Stafford, which obviously Odell was particularly pissed about and punched him in the ass. But Huntley was not good in this game. He couldn't come through, and I think that kind of puts to rest people saying, which to me was ridiculous, that Huntley was better than Lamar, and there's this quarterback controversy or whatnot. It's just not there. I mean,
come on, let's be honest here. Come on, Lamar. I mean, Lamar is the franchise. He's the franchise.
He is the franchise. Thank you so much for finally saying that. I mean, not finally. I mean, you've said that before. But
I mean, there's no quarterback controversy here. Like, come on, let's be honest. Lamar is the guy. Like,
he's the guy.
Like Huntley, for as great as for as solid as he is, he's mid-tier at best. He's not elite
a decent
the way
backup.
Lamar is.
If they need a backup quarterback, he's serviceable. You can definitely say that.
He's not a guy who you're going to take out there to win a Super Bowl. Lamar is that guy that you bring out there to win a Super Bowl.
Definitely. And I hope he plays against Pittsburgh. That's my big thought. Actually, I was looking at tickets to see if I could go this weekend, but there was like 2 sections left, and it was like $200 a ticket. I was like, nope, not going.
I mean, it's Pittsburgh. It's going to be Big Ben's last game.
It's last game in general, right? So I figured it was going to be close to sold out. So that's the big thing for me. And yeah, the Ravens offense, they couldn't get it done. I mean, Justin Tucker had a good game. He had 4 field goals. He was
the GOAT.
He was happy as could be. He was happy as could be that he was out there. But yeah, it's just frustrating. Especially because they had a delay of game on that same series. They had Huntley took a sack on 3rd down and goal. It's the little things you have to do to beat a team like the Rams, who were one of the hottest teams coming into that game. So And again, our offensive line, we had our starting center actually got sick right before the game, like he was supposed to start. Got sick right before the game, and our backup center was atrocious. I mean, when you're going up against the Rams, who have one of the best, defensive lines, when you have to block Aaron Donald, which they actually did a pretty good job for the most part of holding down that Rams defensive line. But the thing is, I just allude back to, like, you can't make those small mistakes when you're going up against a team like the Rams and the Ravens did. But I was happy with the stadium experience. It was a lot of fun. I just hope Lamar plays next week. He gives us the best chance to beat Pittsburgh, and the Rams survived.
All right,
I got nothing.
The Chargers over the Broncos. Any thoughts?
I got nothing. I mean,
skip.
Yeah, I got nothing.
The 49ers over the Texans. Skip.
Trey Lance. Yeah. Trey Lance sighting.
Yeah, Trey Lance looked pretty good.
Nice to see him out there.
The Texans, come on now.
I mean, whoa, hold on. I will not stand for this slander of the... Did I just completely freeze? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Like, I just froze. But no, I would not stand for the slander of Houston, okay? Because they just beat the Chargers last week, and they handled the Chargers. So it's a pretty impressive win for Trey Lance. It's not as if the Texans are a scrappy team. Like, they're not awful.
All right. Yeah, but Trey Lance, I'll just give you his stats: 16 for 23, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He did a pretty serviceable job.
Yeah, no, he looked good, and Garoppolo's. I mean, the clock's ticking with Garoppolo.
Yeah, but for now, he's still the better option. The Trey Lance is still not ready, though. He's still not ready to take over right now.
All right.
I agree with you.
The
Saints over the Panthers, 18-10. Taysom Hill.
Who cares? Who cares?
I
understand you want him to be your franchise quarterback, coming up here soon, but he stinks.
Overpaid clown.
The Seahawks over the Lions.
No playoff implications here. Who cares?
Skip.
Yeah, it'll be Russell Wilson's last hurrah there.
The Packers over the Kirk Cousins-less Vikings.
Yeah, this was a game for the Packers to sort of flex their muscles a little bit, and they certainly did.
And they flexed. They
certainly
flexed.
Did. This was a tune-up game for them, even though it was. If the Vikings were fully healthy, it would have been a better game for sure. If Kirk Cousins had played, as much as I don't like Kirk Cousins, it would have been a much better game. So
I agree. I think my question is, are the Packers going to play their starters next? They've already secured the number 1, so they already have a bye week.
You don't have a reason to, I don't think.
But do you really want your starters sitting out 2 weeks?
What you could do is play them for the first half, and then sit them down. That I think is the best option. That way they still get some playing time.
So they're playing the Lions this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, golly, Jesus. Yeah, play him for a half, and that's it.
Motor City down.
For a series, bud. Put in the flipping third-string quarterback against the Lions.
Jordan Love is probably going to get a majority of the snaps in that game. If anything, it's going to be like a preseason game where they play like the first quarter, and that's it. So
last but not least, what could be Big Ben's final game at Heinz Field as the Steelers clap the Browns and
Steelers defense claps the Browns.
Absolutely. And what a sight after the game with all the cameramen, all the cameramen around Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Putting up the heart symbol. It was just a wonderful moment. I'm mad I missed it live, but
I'm gonna be honest.
It was crazy. It was just a surreal atmosphere from what I saw on the replay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't.
I did, but I didn't. I also didn't like how like
you don't respect the game of Roethlisberger. I mean, he's been.
Given his given his past things that he's done in his past, it's hard for me to get past that stuff. For me, I'm sorry. Like I just really didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just really didn't like, and plus I have no vested interest really. Like I didn't really like Ben Roethlisberger as a player. Also, I mean, I'm not denying his like how good he was because he was a good quarterback. I mean, the guy won 2 Super Bowls, went to 3, and he was clutch, but like I just don't have any.
I keep forgetting the Super Bowl against the Packers. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like I just had no vested interest in it. I just really didn't care.
I was, the announcers, it just seemed like they were just so over the top with it. It just got to a point by the time the game was over, I was like, all right, I'm done with this. Like,
and it's not like he had like a monster game like Kobe Bryant did in his last game.
He didn't play that well, to be honest with you. I mean, it was fine. Like he did enough to win, but I mean, his defense really kind of went off, and so did. And I was gonna say, and so did Najee Harris. Like he was fantastic, and like pretty much, and he put the game to bed with that long touchdown run. But yeah, I thought the whole thing with the cameras, I was like, when is this shit gonna end? Like, because they just kept following around the stadium. I'm like, all right, it's been like 10 minutes now, and it got to a point where I'm like, I'm a Ravens fan. Why am I watching this? Like, I respect what Big Ben has done on the football field. Guy has had a hell of a career. He's played through a lot of injuries. He's been a super tough quarterback, tough competitor. But at the same time, I'm like, I hope next week, we sack him 20 times, like for real.
Give him a proper goodbye. Give him a proper Ravens goodbye. That's
right. The old-fashioned Ravens goodbye. You know what I mean? So, you got to respect what he's done in his career. Like Carlos said, he's had some off-the-field stuff. But look, a lot of NFL players have. I mean, we could go down the list of guys who have had legal stuff off the field that we still sort of worship, some of us. So, it's fine. But, yeah, I was kind of sick of it by the end of the game, to be honest. And I thought the camera thing was way too much. I'm like, give him some room, for real. Like, he can't even walk.
I know it was like Tom Brady when he wins the Super Bowl. Like they were just all over him. I was like, this isn't like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. And so that was just kind of my thought on it.
Last thing I'll say, Mike Tomlin, man, the fact that again he's not going to have a losing season. The fact that this guy.
He's great.
I mean, he always was a legit coach.
He's up there with
Jesus, man, come on! Like, and he found a way to get to game the system by like having that tie. There's no way, even if they lose to the Ravens, he's not going to have a losing season, even though we have an odd number of games.
Exactly right.
This is true.
So smart.
This is true.
Man, respect to Mike Tomlin. Him and Aaron Rodgers are going to be great next year.
I love it. Yeah, that's a great point, Carlos. And I'll just finish by saying, like, Mike Tomlin, for these people who say to fire him, they're just foolish. I mean, look at what he's done for your franchise. Yeah. He hasn't had a losing season. If you brought a coach in there next year, a new coach, I don't care where they're from, they're not going to have as much success as Mike Tomlin has, because Mike Tomlin's built a culture there. It's a culture.
100%. And he's continued the culture, is what we could say.
Like Bruce Allen would say, that's a damn good culture they have there, but it would be serious in this situation.
It'd be a shame if somebody messed it up.
All right.
Anyway, that's all I'll say.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
all I got.
That was the hurry up offense. We'll be right back and wrap things up for you on episode 145 of the Kirby on Sports podcast right after this.
Hey there, this is Mark Francis of Icon Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs in the Winchester surrounding area, including West Virginia, give me a call. I've got extensive experience, been in the business for almost 20 years, and would love to help you out. Track me down at Icon Real Estate, iconsells.com, or even give me a call, 540-247-1527. Again, Icon Sells, ICONSELLS.com, and I would love to chat with you and help you out. Give me a call.
It has all come down to this. One extra week in the NFL season, week number 18, and not
a long
only
one.
on Sunday, but on Saturday. Two games on Saturday. In the rest of the games on Sunday, both networks doing double headers. And then to cap it off with the Chargers and Raiders on Sunday Night Football. One last time for this regular season, boys. What are we looking out for?
Just let it. I'm looking for it to finally end. This season's been too long. Just one extra week is too much.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. I will not regret saying that. I will not. I don't regret anything that I say. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say.
I bet you're going to be laying on your couch in the middle of summer saying, "Oh, I wish football was here."
Unfortunately, not, because my life doesn't revolve around football. So I got other vested interests that I can definitely watch over the summer.
Okay. Well, good. Okay, because I'll miss football. I'll miss it deep down in my heart.
Oh, I know you will.
I'm looking forward to these Saturday games, though. Saturday and Sunday.
Skipping me.
Couch all weekend, man. Week 18, all the playoffs fall into line. It's
fair.
It's incredible. The final week of the NFL season, everything falls into place. The playoff implications on the line. That's what makes the last week of this football season so great.
Yeah, the last week is not great. The last always suck this year. The last week is never the best.
And the way the schedules work out, where a lot of the divisional games are piled onto the end, it's always like the best team versus the worst team. But I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to. You ready for this? My upset pick of the week.
All right, I'm ready.
Jacksonville takes down the Colts. Mark it down. It's a foolish pick, but it's a pick, damn it. And that's going to get the Ravens into the playoffs.
I can't get behind that pick. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Dan, it's not going to happen.
That's my foolish pick of the week. That's why I said it.
Don't hate the game. A boy can dream. A boy can dream, I guess.
Shit.
A boy can dream.
Player hate the game. There, I said it backwards.
But what I'm looking forward. I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to Saturdays. Both my teams are playing, so then Sunday I can just sit back, relax, and just not have to worry about anything.
Oh man, it's gonna be great.
I might not even watch Sunday. I might just go off and do something else.
Smart.
All right.
How about invest?
Gentlemen, I must say this has been a fun ride from week 1 to week 18. I couldn't have picked.
I can't believe we've done 18 weeks of this.
That's crazy.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great ride with both of you going into the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of this new year brings.
Totally with you, man.
Just remember, we got live shows coming.
We got live shows coming.
Podcasts coming. So just
stay tuned. We got what they want. We've got to give the people what they want.
Join us live. And then, of course, even if you can't join us live, we're going to put up the audio on all, and you can rewatch the show also on YouTube. We're going to post it on there too. And then, of course, wherever you listen to us on podcasts, we're going to put the audio up on there too. So, it's going to be a good time over the playoffs.
Totally agree. Carlos said it well. That's a good conclusion.
This has been another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Trumbull Insurance. Contact Patrick for all your insurance needs. Regroup Building Services, PM Plus Reserves. Shenandoah Primitives, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. Check out anything and everything the Kirby on Sports podcast at KirbyOnSports.com, along with all social media platforms. We're killing it. I'm excited to see what 2022 brings us. So, until then, until the next time you see us, you hear us. Always remember to create greatness. We say so long and